Okay, I've got 7 o'clock. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I want to send a quick text message. Um, just to see if we've got anyone online here. I get 2 people popping in. I'm Mike Shorten here, candidate for McHenry County Board in District 4. We're just going to give it 2 more minutes, see if people want to pop in, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Maybe just a minute here. I just want to make sure the feed is of quality. Just going to wait for a quick confirmation and then we'll get started. For anyone who's here watching, um, I'm going to be taking questions. So 2 ways to submit questions. One is via text message. You can send me a text message to 815-893-9772, or you can use the Let's Chat button that's on the website, and that'll come right up in front of me here. So I look forward to answering your questions. So I've got 702. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And again, if you have any questions, submit it through via text to 815-893-9772 or use the Let's Chat button on the website. So again, I'm Mike Shorten. I'm Republican candidate for McHenry County Board in District 4. If you're not aware, there's a primary election tomorrow. Normally it's in March, April timeframe, but because of the census and realigning districts and everything that took place involved in that. The folks in Springfield um, pushed it back to June 28th, which is tomorrow. Early voting's been going on for what seems like several years. You can still no, take it back. Polls are closed. So tomorrow, election day, I think polls open at 6 a.m. If you want to find out more information about where to vote, you can also get copies of your sample ballot. When you're done here, you can go to mikeshorten.org, the site that you're on. You should actually see at the top banner, there's a link that says voting information. You can click on that and you have access again to get to the county clerk's site to type in your home address. Tells you where your polling place is if it's changed, because some people, A, the district may have changed, B, the polling place may have changed. And if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to give me a call afterwards, either tonight or tomorrow. My phone number is 815-669-0184. That all said, a quick introduction. My name is Mike Shorten. Again, a Republican Party candidate for McHenry County Board in District 4. Um, I want to thank you for joining. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time talking about myself, and then if you have questions, as I outlined before, or is listed on the webpage, you can either send me a text message with a question or use the website application to send a message through, and I'll get to those questions in just a minute. So I have lived in McHenry County and in Crystal Lake for just about 20 years. I live in Crystal Lake with my wife Cheryl, and we have 3 daughters who are range in age from 17 to 23: Tessa, Jillian, and Delaney. They've all gone through the Crystal Lake school system. Tessa's a graduate of UW Oshkosh, and Jillian is a going to be a senior at Carthage, and then Delaney is heading into her senior year as well at Prairie Ridge. Obviously, most proudest accomplishment, I think, of both me and my wife. Both very, very strong young ladies, and looking forward to what they're going to accomplish in life. From a professional standpoint, I'm with the same organization for 30 years. I've worked in I think back 29 years, it'll be 30 next year. Um, I've worked as an account manager. From a political standpoint, which I think is most important, a lot of times when you knock on doors, you're talking to people, first question you get is, what are you going to do for me? When really probably the first question should be, what have you done? And I can tell you what I've done. I started as an elected trustee in Nunda Township for 4 years on an all Republican board. And unfortunately, for the community, I was the only Republican that was focused on cutting taxes, increasing transparency, and fighting government corruption. So I was kind of Don Quixote for 4 years. I was able to stop some corruption. The supervisor at the time tried to appoint his local administrator to a cemetery board, so it'd have like hands on a lot of different purse strings from a uh, tax and spend perspective. During those 4 years as a township trustee, I did fight. I banged on the table quite a bit. Finally, at the end of my term, Mark Dezemski, who's a model public servant, was appointed into the assessor role. And when he came into that role, he identified a bunch of cost savings opportunities. We were able to cut those costs and force a tax cut upon my fellow board members who had no choice but to acquiesce at that point. Um, from a transparency standpoint, I fought for live streaming meetings. We started out with recorded meetings, which is somewhat productive. However, I was able to take and work on getting the meetings streamed, which they are streamed live now from Thunder Township on YouTube. So accomplishments that I'm pretty proud of. The powers that be ran hard against me in 2017 and got me off the board. Unfortunately, they've got two members on the board, both Tim and Rob Parrish, who fought hard for 4 years, and now they have a majority on the board, and they're going to do some good things. Um, from a general political perspective, and just to clarify, I'm in my home office here. Window well behind me. I can see part of the sky. Sometimes it looks like it's sunny out. So when I get done, I'll probably go out and sit in the back porch for a little bit. Um, and for those of you just popped in, tomorrow is the primary election day. Pull a Republican ballot and vote for Mike Shorten for McHenry County Board. My involvement in local politics has gone on for the past 15 years. I've served in different leadership positions in the Republican Party. I was chair, vice chair, and secretary at different points for the non-township Republicans, and then also served as vice chair for the McHenry County Republican Party for 2 years. So what that meant is I spent a lot of time trying to connect voters and candidates, whether it's at events through opportunities like this. I was hosting podcasts back in the day with Mike Tryon and Barb Wheeler and a couple other folks who have since moved on from the political stage. And I look forward, once I'm elected, to using this platform to connect with constituents as well. It's something that I do for work. I have done podcasts for fun in the past, but I think this is a good avenue to connect with voters. So that's a little bit about me, some things that I want to bring to light about a couple of my um, opponents. There are two opponents, Paul Bartel and Suzanne Delaney, who are running for the Republican nomination on the same ballot as me. And something I wanted to pull out about both of them is they both lived in McHenry County for upwards of 4 or 5 years, had at least two opportunities both to pull Republican ballots in the primary election or in a primary election, and never have. So they will, when they step into the voting booth tomorrow to cast their vote, their first act voting in a Republican primary will be voting for themselves ever in McHenry County. So I think that's important to call out. Number two, Susan Delaney has said some concerning things at a League of Women Voters Candidates Forum, um, especially related to pandemic. She is predicting that there's a pandemic coming soon, and she has an emergency plan that specifies, per her words, that police and social workers do rounds in the community. And I don't know about you, mask, anti-mask, vaxxed, anti-vax. I think everyone's had enough of it. So to have a politician spreading fear like that is not a good fit. Is not a good fit. So again, I'm asking for your vote tomorrow in the Republican primary for McHenry County Board in District 4. Now I'm going to check on my different, let's see, platforms here and see if I have any messages that I can Get questions. There we go. Oops. Okay, that one. All right. Okay, so I have a message from Gerald. Gerald, thank you for asking the question. It's a question about boundaries. And that's something that happens every 10 years with the census, and you have boundaries for everything redrawn. So, congressional districts, state Senate, state House, county board districts, and this time around, because of legislation passed by the Democrats in Springfield, every single precinct had to be redrawn. And the drawings that they do on those lines are based on um, uh, the number of people that live in a particular district, whatever it is that folks are running for. And so you see a lot of changes. In some cases, you have the same representation that you had before. For instance, the race that I'm running in now is District 4. Um, it, right now, my representation comes from District 3. So the boundaries have changed in that as well. An important thing that happened in the county board within the past 4 years is they did pass a change to reduce the number of county board members. Right now, there are 24 active board members. So you have 6 districts with 4 representatives per district. What will take place after the general election in November is there will be 9 districts of 2 representatives each, which I think is a more cost-effective solution for the county board and also a more effective solution. If you can try and imagine trying to go through issues with 24 board members, 18 is a lot, but 24 is overwhelming. Um, so as far as how the boundaries are drawn, it's based on uh, who owns what level of government. For example, the state of Illinois is owned by the Democrats, so they can draw the line for Congress, state representative, and state senate. The county board districts were drawn by, I believe, Mr. Bueller had oversight on that, and then, of course, passed by the county board. And then the precincts as well, I think, came from Mr. Tirio. I might be speaking out of turn here, but that's kind of the long or short explanation on what that is. Let's see. Okay, I get notified every time someone. Well, that's something I wrote. Let's see. We don't have anything there. I did get a couple text messages here. First one is a question about my record. Again, just to reiterate, served for 4 years as a trustee in Nunda Township, where I fought to cut taxes, fought to reduce spending, and improve transparency. And all 3 of those things I did successfully. If you just joined, we're doing a live town hall. I did walk through a little bit of an introduction of myself, and now I'm taking questions. If you have a question, you can use the Let's Chat button that's available on the website, or else you can send me a text message to 815-893-9772, and I'll just kind of hang here and answer questions as long as we have people in the room. So again, the record question, again, I have a record of fighting taxes. I'm going to bring that to the county board. One question I got through my Facebook page was relative to how much we're going to be able to cut taxes at the county level. So first off, you receive a tax bill every year, and I think we just got one in the past month or two that shows all the units of government that you pay taxes into. I'm going to see if I can pull a copy of mine up just so we have good visual here. Bear with me for just a second, see if I can find it. Let's see, sample. I don't have it right at my fingertips, so I'm not gonna drag this out. But essentially, you have a large number of units of government that appear on your tax bill, all the way from township, municipality, school district, and it kind of depends on where you live. The different overlays that you have, pension funds for government workers and what have you. Um, by and large, over the past 10 years, the county government portion of the tax bill, which includes the county administrative services, state's attorney, sheriff, court clerk, um, treasurer, and missing one, comptroller, and county clerk all fall under one giant budget. There's individual department budgets. Over the past 10 years, that levy has remained flat. And a lot of that has been driven by good Republicans in office who have worked to reduce expenses, and which has enabled the board to pass those off to the taxpayers as either, well, we'll call it not tax increases. We did have one abatement a couple years ago. I think most folks got a check for a couple $100, dependent on the value of your property. Um, but in this current environment, I'm going to go in, and my intent is to work with department heads. Obviously, we've had a flat levy for 10 years, which means the budget's been relatively flat, and we're up against the wall of increased costs. We so my goal is to kind of take a look at, once I'm in office, the services that we provide, uh, try and work with other board members and figure out what's a nice to have and what's a need to have, and look for ways to reduce spending. And I'm hoping that our economic outlook doesn't worsen. But once it comes back around, I think there might be an opportunity to reduce taxes down the line, but it's not going to be immediate. I just, I think some of my opponents in this race are uh, very steadfast in their declaration that they can cut taxes. And frankly, to do that, it's not just a simple matter of going in and saying, I'm going to cut taxes. You got to work to reduce the spending, make sure you're validating the services, and hang up on that call. Um, and work on that. So let me see. Again, if you have any questions, use the Let's Chat button that's available on the site, or you can text me at 815-893-9772. So how do I get this message up? How will you address? Sorry. Okay. Got a question from Harry. What will you do to address the embarrassment that is the current flag of McHenry, McHenry County? I have to say, I don't know that I know what the current flag looks like. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick and share it with you. Okay. Open. All right, so let me bring this up and we can take a look. I'll be upfront with you that I hadn't expected that question, but let me see if we can figure out how to prop this up real quick and answer that question for you. Let's see. Okay. So I have that up on the screen now. Hopefully you can all see that. Uh, Not something that I had thought about again, but I appreciate you, Harry, asking that question. Um, Certainly, I will discuss with the other county board members if we can address it. I don't know what the historical significance of it is, who designed it, when they designed it, and sometimes those kind of things you need to tread lightly. Okay, so that's Harry's question. I've got a question here. No, let's see. Inbox. Okay, I lost that one. Dang it. Again, if you have a question, feel free to text it to me at 815 893-9772, or you can use a let's chat box. Let me see if I can get over here to. Okay, so I do have another question. Who are you running against? So I have two opponents in the general election. The first is Paul Bartel, Susan Delaney, who I talked about before, who've lived in McHenry County for 6 years. I've been involved in local politics, and they've never shown up to anything or participated. That doesn't mean they can't run. They certainly are allowed to. But the question you need to ask is, what's their intent? In addition to not participating in anything having to do with local politics or the Republican Party, they've never even voted in a Republican primary since they've lived here. And I think they've both had at least two, maybe three opportunities to pull a Republican ballot. So it just kind of begs the question, why are they here? In addition, Suzanne Delaney, who's a former nurse, has issued an emergency plan, which apparently involves a pandemic coming soon and police and social workers doing the rounds to check on what I don't know. And then Joe Gottemoller, who's been on the board for 10 years. Joe has an expertise in specifically zoning, so I think he's a valued member of the board. Um, let's see, take that down. And so those are the three. Only two of us will get through. You can vote for one or you can vote for two, your choice. If you have any other questions, again, the Let's Chat app, or it might be better if you can text me, 815-893-9772, because as much as I think I've got technology figured out, it also looks like I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. Okay. So, question about taxes. I think I just talked about that. Um, Again, we're gonna do what we can to stabilize spending, reduce it where we can. Again, we have a lot of great individuals that are in elected administrative positions within the county, good Republicans. Kathy Keefe, who's endorsed me. Kathy's been in that office for 12 years, and over time, she's reduced her office staff by about 26, 27%, and at this point is saving about $1 million, $1.1 million annually. Um, Joe Tirio, who is our county clerk. If you remember, Joe was originally elected recorder and then put forth himself a ballot measure to essentially merge the recorder's office with the county clerk's office. That was done successfully. The savings on that, I think, since that merger of those two places um, took place was I think about $1.6 million. So uh, quite an impressive achievement. Outgoing Sheriff Bill Prim, I know he's made some cuts over the two terms that he's been um, in office. So there's a fairly good record of Republicans in office reducing costs, and I'm looking forward to working with them. Obviously, we're going to have a new sheriff. Um, there will be a new sheriff in town. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Let's see if I have any questions that have come through. Let's see. Harry, oh, we didn't talk the flag. Okay, Harry put through another question. What is the role of pregnancy resource centers in our community? How you support groups attempting to help women in crisis pregnancies make informed choices without pushing abortion as a quick and easy fix? I think that's a good question, especially in light of the Supreme Court ruling that rolled through Friday of last week. I think that's a real important call out. Now, obviously, state of Illinois has one of the most um, how do I phase this progressive uh, abortion laws on the books, including abortion all the way up until um, uh, what they call late term abortion. So right before the baby comes out of the womb, it can be aborted, which is not good. I think there's also a law in the books that essentially prohibits abortion doctors or doctors from providing aid to a, a a baby delivered during an abortion that comes out and is not dead. That's a whole other can of worms. But going back to the basis of the question from Harry, um, yeah, I think that we need to make sure that we are um, enabling for crisis pregnancy centers to help people make informed choices, especially in the state of Illinois. And as far as the county being able to fund those, that's something we can certainly take a look into. I know that there are a number of nonprofits that currently provide that service in the county. There's also nonprofits um, that support or acknowledge and celebrate mothers who have given up their children for adoption. The name of it I can't remember. If my wife's listening, if you could text me the name of that, and I'll be happy to share that. So I hope that answers that question. Again, if you have any questions, you can use the Let's Chat um, button on the site or send me a text message to 815-893-9772. Okay, let me pop over to my text. I don't see anything there. It says there's forms here, but I don't see. Um, bear with me while I switch over my chat. There we go. Okay. Okay, there's a question here about um, uh, Pride Month and the flag. And there was recently a special meeting that took place after the regular May meeting to address a proclamation, which typically is always addressed in June um, because of a Supreme Court ruling. I don't know the exact case, but the kind of high level on that is there was I think it was in Boston, a group wanted to fly their flag over, I think it was Boston City Hall or something to that effect. I'm probably paraphrasing, so bear with me. But the flag had a cross on it, and the council or governing body that was making the decision about that said, well, that's a church and state. We can't fly the flag. The organization sued. It's a civil rights violation, went all the way up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, yep, that's a violation of civil rights, freedom of expression. So now what that does is it puts government agencies in this conundrum of, if we fly flags um, for one organization, then another organization comes through and wants to have their flag flown. And let's just talk about, we'll talk real life, and then we'll talk about maybe an extreme example, at least to give a little bit of precedent to it. Sorry, trying to get rid of this. Um, so the pride flag came up for a vote, and it was voted against because of the potential for a civil rights lawsuit from other organizations that want to fly a flag. So let's say the county board was to approve flying the pride flag for the month of June, and then another organization came by and said, well, we want to fly our flag, and their flag happened to be something offensive. You can call it the Confederate flag, Nazi flag, or some other not so extreme example. But um, if the county approved the pride flag and then didn't approve the other flag, there could be a civil rights lawsuit against the county, B, the individual county board members. So fill in the blanks there, and I don't think anybody wants to be around that. That said, my personal thoughts on pride and the flag are um, I'm I, I work with a lot of people that fall under the rainbows of the pride flag, and I know people that fall under the rainbows of the pride flag, and I have no issue with it. You live your life the way you want to live it. That's kind of where my head's on that one. So let me see if I have any more questions here. Again, if you have a question, you can text it to 815-893-9772, or you can use the chat bot to send your question through to my app here, and hopefully I can get it to work and I'll answer your question for you. Um, I don't have any more questions at the moment, so I'll take a brief minute and just kind of recap some things I talked about at the top of the podcast. Again, primary election day is tomorrow, June 28th. I believe polls open at 6 a.m., run till 7 p.m. If you haven't, it probably would make sense. There should be up here at the top of the screen an option, or if you're watching on your phone, click on the three lines, and there's a page for voting information. You can go to that page, type in your address, get a sample ballot, so you can do a little research on the candidates tonight or tomorrow before you go to vote. B, it's going to tell you where your polling location is, and you want to make sure you double check that because, again, with the census and the redistricting that took place earlier this year, you want to make sure you're going to the right place. If you have any questions on any of that, feel free to give me a call directly. My campaign phone number is 815-669-0184. Again, 815-669-0184. You can also email me. There should be a link somewhere, I think, down below on the site. It's Shorty, Shorty, at MikeShorten.org. And I just got another question through, which, let's see. Going back to the question about pregnancy earlier, the organization I think they recognize mothers who have given up children for adoption as Moms Not Forgotten. Um, let's see, any other questions here? Got Harry's question. I got Gerald's question. We already answered. This one didn't go through. That one I can't see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. One question I did get via chat is, do people really call you Shorty? They sure do. Shorty is a nickname that came to me, honestly, not till I was in my early 30s. So my wife Cheryl and I were living down in Elgin. We had our first daughter, Tessa, who was probably 3 years old, 4 years old. We lived in one house in Crystal Lake in the Covent Street subdivision, and we were moving up here to where we live now, which is walk up at the park. And house was under construction, so I showed up, and there was a couple that lived down the block around the corner that knew we were coming. We knew of them through mutual friends, and so the house is under construction. The doors are locked, and this guy comes walking down the street, Joel, with two of his twins in diapers. I can remember it as plain as day. Um, Now those twins who were in diapers at the time, they are now both 21 and really exceptional young women. But Joel, my friend Joel, shows up now, my best friend, and he says, well, second best friend, that's a whole other story. But he says, I said, Mike Shorty. He's like, oh, Shorty, we'll call you Shorty. I'm like, okay, no one's ever done that before. I'm not short. I'm 6 feet. Last name, I guess that's an easy thing to pass on to. But he started calling me Shorty now. Everybody calls me Shorty. More often they do call me Mike. So feel free to call me either one. I respond to both. Let's see. Let's see. I got a question here. Let's see if I can get this open. Um, which of which of your opponents would you most like to work with if you were both elected? So two of us in the primary will get through, and then there'll be an election in November. I think the one if I had the ability to declare who would come through with me, I'd pick Mr. Gadamuller. Um, Reason being twofold. Number one, while we don't always agree on things, we can agree on things respectfully. and we can have conversations about those things that we disagree on. Um, the other two candidates are brand new. Uh, Mr. Bartel, I haven't seen where he's going, and I'm choosing my words carefully here, but he does not have a statesman's attitude about him. It's kind of bull in a china shop, and you know, here's what I'll say. Um, if you do a search, and I'll put it in the blog here somewhere, but on my blog page, I got gosh. Um, but if you go to McHenry County League of Women Voters, they hosted a candidates forum. They have a YouTube channel. You can find the District 4 debate and watch it. And I think you'll see the contrast between the four candidates. Susan Delaney, I think, is a good enough person, could work well with on the board. I just personally, some of her viewpoints are a little bit far to the right for my personal taste. Let's see. I don't have any more questions here. I'm going to double check on the text message. So if you have anything else, go ahead and put it through. Otherwise, I'll kind of start wrapping up here, and if things pop in, I'll answer the questions as they appear. So again, primary election day is tomorrow, June 28th. If you want to vote for someone who's got experience fighting for reduced taxes, fighting for reduced spending, fighting for improved transparency, and fighting against government corruption, vote for Mike Shorten, aka Shorty. It says Shorty on the ballot. And I'm going to bring my record and experience working in Nunde Township, my record and reliability as a Republican in the county for the past 15 years, working in leadership roles in the party, uh, uh, and being true to the tenets that are the underpinnings of the Republican Party. And let's see, I lost my train of thought. But I am endorsed by Kathy Keith, who I mentioned before is a McHenry County clerk. I admire Kathy a lot because she has been in office for 12 years, has reduced staff 27%, and saves taxpayers about $1 million a year relative to where she walked into the office. Lori Parrish, who is a current county board member, who actually her seat is the one that I'm running for. She ran for one term. Great county board member, but just has other things that she's prioritizing in life. Lori's provided me her endorsement. Also have the endorsement of former state representative Barb Wheeler, who I think most folks know was a state representative, and before that, member of the county board. So I'm going to go ahead and give one last look at one of the Q&A questions. And I don't have anything in the text. And let me go here. We already answered that question. Just double check here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Visitor, 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 visitor. Oh, what we do. Talked about the flag already. Gerald, we already talked about. Talked about the boundaries. Okay, I'll give it one more look-see. And if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Give you one more chance. Again, 815-893-9772. If you have a question, or you can use the Let's Chat button on the website, and it'll pop up here on my little smartphone. And while I'm giving that one more minute, again, top of the screen, voting information, find out where your polling place is tomorrow, get a copy of your sample ballot. And if you have any questions or any difficulty, phone number I think is up top and down below on the website. You can call me, 815-669-0184 is that preferred number. You can email me at shorty@mikeshorten.org. And I'm also on Facebook. I think I'm on Instagram, what have you. Feel free to message me. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. And at this point, just double checking. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. What are the issues most specifically relevant to the voters of the 4th District? What should we care about? That's a deep one. Thank you. So, what are the issues most specifically relevant? I think that the overall functioning of government at the county level, and to be clear, a lot of times, and even one of the candidates in my race has uh, selling selling a bag of goods that he doesn't have to sell. So when you're elected to county board, your authority and power over things is limited. You don't have any oversight into the schools. You don't have any oversight into municipalities. You don't have any oversight in the township. Now, there are certain aspects that you can, let's see, so there are certain aspects of taxation that you have to approve as far as money's going back and forth, but you don't have oversight to you know make decisions for other boards. So it's really county government budget, uh, county government spending, zoning for unincorporated areas. So, like I live in incorporated Crystal Lake. I don't have any, would not have any oversight into areas of incorporated Crystal Lake that someone might be building or wanting to build. That goes to the city council in Crystal Lake. So again, it's planning and zoning within the unincorporated areas. Um, and then just the overall function of government, making sure that the areas that we need to operate, like the sheriff's office, like the state's attorney's office, like the clerk's office, like the county clerk's office, or I'm sorry, court clerk's office, make sure that they have the funding and the ability to do what they need to do. One of the ways that I can work to control taxes is to work within those entities, again, to continue to drive costs out so that we can keep taxes flat as they have been for the past 10 years. And in for that county portion of the government, I know that nobody's tax bill has gone down. I can attest. But that county portion of the tax bill has remained relatively static. Um, so as far as the county issues, I think that's the biggest issue is making sure that we're funding appropriately and not aggressively, cutting costs so that we can maintain the levy and not increase. And I will not vote for a tax increase, not in this current environment, and frankly, not in any other environment. It would have to be a real cold day in hell for that to take place. Let's see. That is it for here. I got a couple comments coming over from YouTube agreeing it's not a great flag. Weren't there 5 flags on the approved list? 5 seems like a suspicious number. I'm not sure what that means. You're one of nine contested races I'm voting for in the election. I've decided to vote for you. Ziggy's voting for me. Thank you, Ziggy. Or you know what I mean, 8 contested races plus the question about the Park District. Yeah, question about the Park District. If you're in the Crystal Lake Park District, there's a item on the ballot to increase the term of Park District board members from 4 years to 6 years. Highly, highly, highly encourage you to vote against that. It diminishes the value of representation, diminishes the accountability of the elected officials that are in those roles. And if you look at your tax bill and you're in Crystal Lake, the Park District portion of the tax bill is fairly significant. Um, Thank you, Kavanaugh, for your comments. Let's see. I'll just give it one more look-see, and then we can all be on our way. Don't have any questions here. Double checking on the chat. Let's see. Nope, that's all I got. All right, thanks for tuning in. Again, you got 6 a.m. tomorrow till 7 p.m. Check out up above for your voting location, sample ballots. And if you have any questions at all, my phone number is on the website as well as my email address. Feel free to reach out. And you can also connect with me via Facebook, Instagram. I don't think I'm on Twitter. Do I have a TikTok? I have a TikTok video up if you want to take a look at that. I think my handle there is at Shorty in CL. I've got one video. It's kind of a little fun one that my nephew helped me with. So um, thanks again. I hope this was worthwhile for you. Have a good one. Good night.